Honourable members, let us pray. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favour upon this Youth Impact Parliament. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance, clarity, insight, and eloquence to our guest speaker that they may deliver to make this virtual leadership seminar a memorable and resourceful one to our personal development, capacity building. We commit unto your hands all participants that they may understand and adopt to all that will be taught today. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming duty of Ghana, this parliament in Africa. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, I can see online. Yes, I can see online our deputy majority leader. I can see our minority leader. I can see our second deputy minority whip. And then our guest speaker as well. Anyone who joins speaker one will be admitted for the program. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like us to proceed to the next item for our program. That is the welcome address. Mr. Guest Speaker, Mr. Guest Speaker, honorable members, and fellow participants, it is an honor for me to host this memorable event once again as your speaker of Youth Impact Parliament. This youth organization is focused on impacting its members positively and significantly. This occasion assiduously promotes the vision of this parliament. The topic for today's leadership seminar and the sixth in row is public speaking skill as a tool for promoting effective communication among youth leaders. And this topic will be handled by no other person than our guest speaker, Mr. Faisel Abdul-Iddrisu. He's a broadcast journalist and speaker of Akatsi-North Youth Parliament. He is an influential journalist and a prospective politician. I hereby wish, and on behalf of the leadership of the House, welcome all of you and all participants, most especially our guest speaker, to our sixth virtual leadership seminar. Thank you all and welcome once again. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll proceed to the introduction of our guest speaker. Honorable members, Mr. Faisel Abdul-Iddrisu is a young leader with adequate experience in leadership and politics. Mr. Faisel is a former student of St. Paul's Senior High School, SPACO, where he read General Arts program. He currently holds a Bachelor of Arts Degree in Governance Studies from the Evangelical Presbyterian University College Hall. He also holds Diploma in Journalism and Media Studies from the Institute of Commercial Management, London, in the year 2014. Mr. Faisel holds a certificate in Corporate Governance, Principles and Practices in Ghana from the Institute of Directors, Ghana. Our guest speaker has also attended several trainings, especially in the area of journalism, and also parliamentary practices and procedures. Mr. Faisel currently works with the EIB network as a broadcast journalist for Ghana One TV and Star FM. While at EPUC, our guest speaker held various roles in student leadership. Notable among them is leading the Youth Parliament of the University of EPUC as speaker for 2 years, and also he became the SRC president for the 2019-2020 academic year of that same university. At the 11th and 12th graduation ceremony of EPUC, he was adjourned the winner of the Maiden Edem Dekuma Award in Student Governance. Mr. Faisel is a member of the Ghana Journalists Association Volta and also a member of the Avert Development Union. He is a youth activist with key focus on issues of human rights and good governance. Mr. Faisel Abdul-Iddrisu is a public speaker and currently speaker for the Akatsi-North District Youth Parliament and that of Home Municipal Youth Parliament. Our guest speaker aspires to become a lawyer in the near future. Honorable members, I humbly introduce to you Mr. Faisel Abdul-Iddrisu. Mr. Faisel Abdul-Iddrisu, I introduce to your audience. Ladies and gentlemen, I now respectfully invite our guest speaker to take the floor and present to us and facilitate this virtual leadership seminar on the topic of public speaking as a tool for promoting effective communication among the youth. Mr. Faisel, the floor is yours. Thank you very much. I think you have to unmute yourself, sir. You are still muted. I think he's having some technical hit. However, I know he would catch up with us. Honorable members, can I hear here to our guest speaker? Our guest speaker today would give us insight on our topic.
So I think
yes.
I've been able to. Are you able to hear
Yes, please. We can.
me now?
We can hear you. There's some network disruption.
Is the house able to hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
That's fine. Thank you very much. May I proceed, Honorable? Right. All right. So
Yes,
the Right Honorable Speaker for the Youth Impact Parliament, members of this August House, thank you for the opportunity and the invitation to join you this evening for this very important seminar. I am pretty much sure that you have had a couple of seminars in the recent past, very impactful ones. I joined one quite recently, and these seminars are serving purpose. It is for this reason that I accepted the invitation to be part of this evening seminar and also be the guest speaker for tonight's seminar. Let me also note that having observed what the Youth Parliament is doing, particularly your Youth Parliament in recent times, is another wake-up call for the many youth groups around the Volta region in particular to wake up and reorganize themselves and focus on creating what has become the modern group of the youth. The modern group of the youth today is the Youth Parliament. People are paying so much attention to the Youth Parliament. When you go to our universities, and to our school recently, we had the Youth Parliament operating under the Westminster Foundation for Democracy, an office from the office of the Parliament of Ghana. Then across the various districts, we have the various municipal and district youth parliaments operating also under the National Youth Authority. I do know that that of the Westminster Foundation for South Africa is still operating, and even those that have been created under the National Youth Authority within the various municipalities and districts are still operating. And so for you, those from, say, the HTU community, to come up with this idea, I would want to encourage you and also use this opportunity to encourage those who are joining us but are not members to find reasons today to want to join the youth parliament. Is the House able to hear me?
It appears you are having some little network issues in this craft.
Is the House able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
Or if it will be too troublesome, you can turn off your video. I don't know. If the network would be that battling, you can turn off the video so that we can hear you.
All right. So can I proceed now?
Yes, please proceed.
The Right Honorable Speaker, do I have your permission to proceed?
Yes, please proceed.
Maybe that may help.
Yes, proceed, please.
Is it better now?
Yes, we can hear you well.
All right. Thank you very much. And so tonight I am speaking on the topic public speaking skill as a tool for promoting effective communication among the youth. But the question here is, what is public speaking? So first and foremost, let us all know what public speaking means. Now, public speaking in some jurisdictions, they call it oratory. Some say oration. But what public speaking traditionally means is that the act of speaking face to face to a live audience. With the increase in the use of technology and innovation in recent times, public speaking hasn't always been face to face speaking. It has taken different dimensions because of technology. And so today, people are able to pre-record their presentations and present to whatever group of people are the audience to listen to. There are other forms of public speaking, mediums through which people now address gatherings other than the usual in-person, face-to-face kind of public speaking. And so public speaking, as I said, is traditionally having to come face-to-face with your audience and speak to them. But again, public speaking, as it may sound, can be very daunting a task for many. We are all born with very different features, very unique characteristics. There are people who are introverts, there are people who are extroverts. For the usual extroverts, they are able to communicate anytime, anywhere, regardless of who the audience are or who the other person listening is. For the introverts, as you all know, these are people who do not normally have the edge to speak. The purposes of this very seminar and for the fact that we are interfacing through the internet, I would want to ask again from the Right Honorable Speaker if the House is with me so I can proceed.
Yes, the House is with you, please. Kindly proceed.
The Right Honorable Speaker in the House, are you able to hear me so I can proceed?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Yes, we can hear you. Kindly proceed.
Is the House able to hear me, the Right Honorable Speaker?
Yes, please, we can. We can hear you.
Can I proceed with your permission, sir?
Yes, we can hear you. Please proceed.
All right. And so public speaking is used for many different purposes, but usually some mixture of teaching, persuasion, or even entertaining. Each of these calls upon slightly different approaches. And so when you want to engage in public speaking, you have to, first of all, know that there are techniques and approaches to public speaking. So public speaking largely has developed as a sphere of knowledge in Greece and Rome, where prominent thinkers codify it as some sort of central part of rhetoric. So today, the art of public speaking has been transformed by newly available technologies such as video conferencing like we are doing today, multimedia presentations, and other non-traditional forms, but the essentials remain the same. So in all of these, we can interface by way of doing video conferencing. We can do public speaking through the use of multimedia presentations, and then also other non-traditional forms. But what is most important and remains the fundamental, the baseline, is that the essentials are always the same. Public speaking is used as a tool to engage audience on very specific topics. So the question is, you as a public speaker, what are the features, what are the characteristics, what are the skills, what are the techniques that are very essential to you standing out when you go out there and call yourself a public speaker? Again, I want to find out from the House if you are with me so I can proceed. All right. So, essential tips or skills one must adopt to be a good public speaker. Before you accept any form of presentation as a public speaker, before you accept any invitation to speak on a subject, to speak at a ceremony, an engagement, at an event, the first thing that you ought to have offhand is that you need to know your subject. You need to know your topic. So, for instance, the Right Honorable Speaker called to invite me for this seminar. The first thing I asked him is, what am I speaking on? So, as a public speaker, or whoever you are coming to speak to a particular audience, you should first of all know what you are speaking on. So tonight, I am speaking on public speaking skill as tool for promoting effective communication among the youth. So this particular topic, I knew about it even before I accepted the invitation. So that is the first thing you ought to know. Once you know your topic, you are able to determine if this topic falls within your domain. You are able to tell if this topic is a topic you can handle. Tonight, if, for instance, I do not know my topic, and the Right Honorable Speaker is giving a topic in finance, a topic in, say, engineering, I have no about engineering. That is the first point I want to make. When it comes to finance, I have little, very fundamental knowledge about finance. And so I ought to know the topic be able to agree that this is a topic I'm able to speak to. This is a topic I'm able to speak on. And so whoever you are, you must first and foremost know the topic you are speaking about. 2, when it comes to public speaking, you should have in mind that nervousness is normal. When it comes to public speaking, you should know your heart will pump as much blood as it will pump when you are running, when you are jogging. Sometimes immediately they tell you you are coming to talk to ABC group of people, then you feel nervous. So nervousness is normal. The adrenaline rush that makes you sweat also makes you more alert and ready to give your best performance. Nervousness is not all about being afraid. Sometimes nervousness can give you what people define as anxiety. Oh, I can do my best. Oh, this is a nice opportunity. It is very normal. But once you know it is very normal, you must also know that it's important you control that nervousness. You defeat it before you even step your foot or your feet on that stage where you are going to do your presentation or whatsoever engagement you are going to do. Because once you appear to be nervous in the face of your audience, then it creates and sends a different message. So learn as much about your listeners. That's 2. Who are my audience? Some topics are multi-dimensional, and so you have a topic at hand to speak on, and you should know that that topic can be discussed with basic school children. That topic can be discussed with students in a second cycle institution, or probably students in the tertiary institution. The same topic can be multi-dimensional. So you should know who your audience are. Once you know your audience, the very topic they have given you, which is multi-dimensional, can be discussed with any group of people with different demography. You should be able to now put it in context. If I am talking to basic school students on the same topic, what do I ought to do? Or what do I have to know? How do I go about it? If I'm talking to, say, a group of people who are tertiary students, my audience is a group of tertiary students, how do I approach the same topic? But understanding. What level of understanding do they have themselves even before you are coming in? So this will help you determine your choice of words, level of information, organization pattern, and even the motivational statements that you put across while you speak. Am I carrying you, honorable members, along?
Yes, please, you are.
The right honorable speaker, if you are able to hear me, so I can proceed, right?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
All right, thank you very much. And so knowing your audience is as important as having to deliver your best performance. Who are your audience? It determines how you choose your words. It determines the kind of information you should solve. I mean, seek. The kind of organization pattern you should take and how you are able to deliver your presentation. The next thing you should do is to organize your material in the very most effective manner to attain your purpose. Now, I hear people say, public speakers need say, self-confidence to be able to face their audience. I hear people say before you speak in public, you need self-confidence. You need to be in control of yourself. I tell you that today, the best way to have self-confidence is to organize yourself. In preparing for any engagement, you become confident when you are able to organize yourself. And that organization starts with knowing your topic, knowing your audience, and then how you organize your material. Create the framework for your speech, write down the topic, general purpose, specific purpose, central idea, the main points. Make sure to grab the audience's attention in the first 30 seconds. As tonight, I'm working on public speaking skills for promoting communication among the youth. While preparing, like this evening, we're about starting. When you open your
Hmm. I think I think our guest speaker has lost connectivity for a while. Yes, our guest speaker lost connectivity for just a while. I'm hoping that his connection will be reinstated for us to proceed. Okay, so obviously our guest speaker has lost connection. I hope our participants are yes. I hope you are all following I hope you are all following the lecture. If you are all following, you can. So let me relay the ground rules. We'll be having questions and answers. Yes. Uh, Abi. Yes. Let me relay the ground rules. The ground rules is that right after his presentation, we would have questions and answers. would have questions and answers. So whatever questions that you have, after our guest speaker is done with his presentation, we'll take your questions. And then if you have follow-up to that, we'll equally take it. So just be following the conversation, the lecture, and then whenever you have questions, you just write them down. Now, in order for me to properly bring an interventional sign, and what we have improvised is that you indicate it in the in-call message. You indicate it in the in-call message that you have a question, or you just write question, and I'll call on you to ask your question. And when I call on you, unmute yourself. So when you have questions, kindly indicate it in the in-call message. I can see that my second deputy speaker and the majority leader have all joined, and then I can see Evangelical. I think he's also he's a colleague to our guest speaker, because I realized he was in the radio station, the studio. Mr. Evans, welcome. Welcome. Thank you for coming to support your fellow member. I'm hoping he joins. Okay, our guest speaker has joined, so I would accordingly allow him to proceed with the presentation. I'll allow him to proceed with the presentation now. So, Mr. Faisel Abdul-Iddrisu, kindly proceed. With your presentation, if you can hear me. First, I was as well interrupted by Yes, honorable members, um, our guest speaker just joined. Someone is calling me and is actually interrupting my connectivity as well. Mr. Faisel Abdul-Iddrisu, kindly proceed with your presentation. If you can hear us, kindly proceed.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. I'm sure you can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
All right, that's fine. So, just as I was saying, it is important you. Excuse me, let me. Okay. Uh, yeah, honorable members, do I have your permission to continue?
Yes, please proceed. Thank you.
That's good. So, just as I was saying, it is very important to prepare yourself in the best manner you can before you approach anything of this sort. And having to prepare yourself, you would have to watch out for feedback. Have it in mind that when you start your presentation, when you start whatever conversation you are supposed to have, yes, there is going to be reactions from your audience. So you must be able to gauge these reactions, adjust your message, and stay flexible. Delivering a very canned speech will guarantee that you lose the attention of your audience. Don't go in there with what you prepared from home, and then when you get there and then you are getting reactions, then you continue in that manner. Sometimes you have to adjust. You have to shift the goalpost. But remember that while you adjust, you have a theme, you have a topic you are speaking to, and so you remain in line with that. So you don't confuse yourself, confuse your audience, and end up losing your audience. Even the most devoted audience or listeners will leave you when you come in so static without any form of flexibility. The next thing to do is to also let your personality come through. Your personality. The last time I hosted an event as an MC, it was just quite recently. And so before that, for more than 2 years, I've not hosted any big event, not even a wedding ceremony. And so I began to ask myself, how do I approach this particular wedding ceremony as an MC? Or how do I approach this event? Then one thing that came to mind is that remain who you are. That was the first answer I got for myself. Let your personality come out. Be yourself. Don't become a talking head in any type of communication, say anything just because the audience are laughing, so you want to put just anything across. You have to establish your credibility by way of letting your personality shine through. And your audience will trust what you have to say if they can see you as a real person. You don't have to fake things. You don't have to copy anybody. Who are you? How do you go about your stuff? Let it shine. Let it reflect in whatever presentation or engagement you are doing. Better credibility of your own personality. I mean, the best way to catch attention is to exhibit who you are and remain real. That is important. It is also important to use other techniques, including storytelling, the use of effective language, and use humor. I mean, the use of humor in your presentation or any form of engagement when it comes to public speaking. Humor, many people consider humor to be anything that is funny. Yes, indeed, that is humor. But sometimes humor can also give your audience a different type of reflection. Yes, what you are saying is funny, but immediately you say it, people are able to identify with that funny statement, go back into their senses, reflect on things that have happened to them, and then they're able to connect. That's how important humor is when it comes to public speaking. I love Dr. Archibald Lecha, the Volta Regional Minister, not as a political figure, because I have a different, and for those of you who may be offended, this is just an opinion I'm sharing. I've not really liked his way of managing the region, so I've been very vociferous about it. That notwithstanding, I like Dr. Lecha's personality in terms of his public speaking. Dr. Lecha enters any tensed environment and changes that environment into an environment of laughter. That's Dr. Lecha for you. So anytime we attend an event and the regional minister comes in, the first thing I look out for is, what is this man likely going to say today? Very, very humorous. Very, very funny. He puts you off guard, makes you laugh. That is one of the skills he has. No matter how much I never liked his administration, I pay attention to hear anytime he speaks. I want to hear him speak because I will laugh at the end of the day. So you have to adopt these strategies, including having to tell story. Your audience generally like personal touch in a speech. So when you tell stories that identifies with them, that connects with them, they're able to identify with you as well while you present. You will carry them and certainly grab their attention. That is important. Don't read unless you have to. When you go to do public speaking, it is important you know that reading from a script or a slide fractures your interpersonal connection with your audience. So those of you who have contested SRC elections or say campus-based politics, one of the tools you use to outwit your opponents is having to engage your audience, having to engage, say, students during the manifesto without having to read from a script. When you go to present your manifesto and you have a whole book in front of you, the best technique to catch attention is to only glance, steal a glance at the script and do your presentation without having to read. It is something you have to cultivate, a technique, a skill you have to learn. You don't only go there and then when you know you are not prepared for it, then you go and be wanting to be a good public speaker. So you shy away from reading. No, you have to develop that skill that when you go to do this form of presentation, you are not expected to be reading. Once you do that, it fractures, it dissipates, it cracks that relationship, that connection you have with your audience. So by maintaining eye contact with the audience, you keep the focus on yourself and your message. A brief outline can serve to jog your memory and keep you on task. And so what I do oftentimes is that before I engage any group of persons, I jot. I outline the very points I want to put across. So when I do this engagement, all I do is that from time to time, I steal a glance at the very keynotes that I've put down on paper or even on my laptop, and then I proceed with my engagement. These very notes you pull down refresh your memory and put you in there. But you are not supposed. You are not supposed to be reading from a script or whatever. It takes away that connection between yourself and your audience. I am proceeding. In public speaking, it is important you use your voice, enhance effectively, omit nervous gestures. So one thing I learned quite recently as a TV broadcaster is that when I go on sets, I go on location to report, I must be careful of how I use my hands. Now, you are reporting from a scene where, say, an accident scene. The kind of gestures you make are very important in conveying your emotions. The kind of gestures you make add flesh to the reportage. And so you don't become overly excited. You don't convey a message of insensitivity with the kind of gestures you make when you are reporting from an accident scene. So you should know the kind of gesture you make while you do your presentation or you engage the public. It is important because it is a message on its own and can be very, very troubling if you don't find or get it right. The kind of voice you use. Some people are not really themselves when they speak. They imitate, they copy, they use somebody's voice. That's not the best. Remain natural. Remain very, very authentic. So the use of nonverbal communication carries most of the message. Good delivery does not call attention to itself, but instead it conveys the speaker's ideas clearly and without distraction. So it's important you know the kind of gestures you make and do so effectively. You omit gestures that shows nervousness. Then also grab attention at the beginning and close with a dynamic end. It is important you grab the attention of your audience. Do you enjoy hearing speech? Start with, today I am going to talk to you about ABC, that kind of thing. Do you enjoy it? Most people don't really enjoy it when you tell them, today I am going to talk to you about, it goes like we are back in the classroom where lecturers come in and say, today I am coming to teach you ABC. People are no longer interested. It doesn't keep people glued to any form of presentation any longer. So you have to find a very catchy way of having to start your engagement with the people. So instead of being very rigid and predictable, use very startling statistics, very interesting anecdotes or concise quotations, and make sure you conclude your speech with a summary and a strong statement that your audience is sure to remember. We are done. So let's go. It is over. But when it is over, your audience want to go home and have a reflection, a reminiscence of what you have discussed earlier with them. So the best way to do it is that conclude your speech with a summary or a very strong statement that your audience is sure to remember. Even when they get home, when they sleep, they are able to remember you. They are able to remember that statement you have made, that very last statement. Is the house with me?
Yes, sir, we are with you. Please proceed.
So with your permission again, the Right Honorable Speaker, public speaking has become a very strong tool for politicians, marketers, people who are into ministry, pastors. public speaking has become so much important to them. If you're a politician who doesn't have that strong public speaking skill, you have a problem. If you are a pastor who doesn't know how to communicate, then your church will become like mine. Not many people will be attending. I don't have a church anyway. And so it is important you master all these techniques. It is important you keep in mind these very things that makes you stand out when it comes to public speaking, when it comes to having to engage a larger group of people. Even if it's 2-3 persons, you should be able to adopt the right technique. And so in recent times, people are using, just as I said, all forms of mediums to engage their audience. So yes, people have adopted the use of audio visuals. People have adopted other very sophisticated mediums to communicate. And so if you want to use audio visuals to aid your presentation, then you have to use them wisely. Because if you don't do so, then you break that very direct connection with your audience. So use them sparingly. They should enhance or clarify your content or capture and maintain your audience's attention. So while you do your presentation once in a while, if it is audio visual, they should be catchy enough. These audio visuals should be able to add some more content and flesh to whatever you are doing. They should clarify the minds of your audience. The audio visuals you use should have the right quality so that at the end of the day, it does not give you a blur kind of presentation. And so it is important you use your audio visuals wisely. But before I end this very part of my presentation, let me remind you all again that people say practice makes man perfect. Well, practice does not really make you perfect. Good communication is never perfect, and nobody expects you to be perfect. However, putting in the requisite time to prepare will help you deliver a better speech. You may not be able to shake your nerves entirely, but you can learn to minimize them. The very last thing I want to leave with you is that today, the best way to stand out in public is to adopt the right strategy for public speaking. Sometimes you leave an event and people have you in mind not because of the way you entered the auditorium, not the kind of dressing you brought in, but how effective you were in communicating with them. That connection leaves undeletable memories, undeletable ideas. And so it is important you prepare yourself well and be sure of what you have come to do. Once you are able to get these things right, you will stand out and be remembered for that very night. As I leave you this evening, I think the very things I'm able to discuss with you today, this very night, stays with you because I believe I've done that right. And you would agree with me. Thank you very much. I'm grateful, the Right Honorable Speaker and the House.
Thank you very much, our guest speaker. Thank you very much for the smooth delivery. As of now, I'm very sure my my members have some questions. So, honorable members, if you have questions, kindly indicate it in the in-chat box. Just write question in capital letters, and I would give you the opportunity for you to ask your question. If no one has a question, I'll proceed with some questions that I have. So if you have a question, kindly indicate it in the in-chat box, and we'll give you the opportunity to ask your question. Okay, honorable minority leader, kindly unmute yourself and ask your question.
Very much. Thank the Honorable Faisel for a smooth delivery. In fact, public speaking is one of the areas that we should be looking at in our talk on leadership. Mr. Speaker, I just want to ask this question. How does one prepare adequately towards a program? In the sense that what are some of the things that I believe that the Honorable Faisal made mention of some of them. But what I'm asking is concerning a program that comes impromptu. You are called to speak on a topic. You're just called upon. How do you embrace that? How do you brace it? How do you hit it? Or how do you how do you go about it? That's the question. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, thank you very much. Our guest speaker, you can kindly unmute yourself and answer the question.
All right, thank you very much, the right honorable speaker and the House, and to the honorable member who asked the question. Yes, I forgot to also remind you all that sometimes you are not invited to an event with a pre-knowledge of having to come to speak. Sometimes you are just at an engagement or one event or the other, and then out of the blue, you are called to speak. You are called to speak, and what it means is that then and there, you would have to get yourself prepared. Now, in the event that you have pre-knowledge of whatever you're supposed to speak about, by way of you being informed earlier, your preparation, which I spoke about earlier, has to start with you knowing the topic. Public speaking skills are a tool for promoting effective communication among the youth. It's your topic, but that is not enough. You should be able to identify with the topic. Am I able to speak about this kind of a topic? Do I have the skill, the expertise, the understanding to be able to speak about this? If you are not able to get answers for those, I advise you decline the invitation, because you would not want to make and then out of the blue, you are asked to speak. Then and then you would have to take some few minutes to first of all gauge the reactions you get from the public. The gathering, what do they expect from you? The very person who is asking you to speak, what does the person want? If you're able to identify these things, then you are ready. Public speaking also requires that
you present yourself in the most acceptable manner, with the right mannerism. And so, if I have to go to the Amegashie auditorium to do this kind of presentation, how I look is very important. I have to know how I dress, how does my dressing and the colors I pick meet or fit into the program. It is very important. And so, to answer your question, preparation, as I said earlier, must start with your understanding of the topic. And you identifying that nervousness is normal. Nervousness is not all about being afraid, but nervousness equally includes anxiety. You want to deliver. You are full of that hope and overconfident. And so that kind of nervousness can affect the way you deliver. And so you have to watch these two things even before you start preparing whatever material you want to go and do the presentation with. Thank you very much, Honorable Member.
Yes, thank you very much, our guest speaker. Mr. Erasmus, Minority Leader, do you have a follow-up question? You have a follow-up. Okay, kindly unmute yourself and ask your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Faisel, I thank you very much. In fact, nervousness, as you said rightly, is one of the key factors that, in fact, leads to poor public speaking when one is nervous. Mr. Speaker, I want to inquire about the essence of invocatives in the introduction of every address to the public. How do you go about your invocatives if you don't know them? Is it just the usual all protocols observed? And how do you go about addressing certain particular dignitaries in a manner with which you shouldn't address them? For example, a topic that concerns them, but let's say a political topic. We are in quite a political era where everything quite has to do with politics. So here I am invited to a speech and let's say an award giving day. And this is the Honorable Minister of, let's say, Finance. And I am asked to speak on e-levy. Do I go about lying? How does the youth address such things? For example, another example cited is also in a school. You are asked to present something like anything concerning the progress of the school or something that is not going well in the school. And then you have somebody, a dignitary there. I don't know why. I'm sure you get what I'm saying. There is a dignitary there for which if you speak against that particular topic in a negative way, you might either be penalized or be sanctioned in one way or the other. In that regard, what do? You just leave the topic hanging. So I've kind of asked two questions in one: how to address invocatives when you don't really know the invocatives there, and then how do you go about a negative issue for that matter when you know that the person for which it concerns is there? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Do I have the permission of the Speaker?
Yes, please kindly proceed, Mr. Guest Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. To the House, I'm grateful. To Honorable Erasmus, these are very interesting questions. The first one, which has to do with invocatives, and oftentimes you go to an event and you don't even know who and who is quote unquote a distinguished guest. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you are told who and who is attending the event, and so you know who they are. Now, in having to do your presentation, to be on the safer side, what I always advise is that if others have already spoken, then you indicate that you are standing on the existing protocol, which has been the norm of late. And I use that when I arrive late at any event where I'm required to speak. So Well, I get the event. I know very well from two, three persons that have already spoken. And so when I come, I do not know my other very distinguished personality, my presentation by indicating that I am standing on the existing protocol, and then I move on. Other than that, sometimes too, people take offense in how you address them in terms of the invocatives. And so what I do is that I first and foremost acknowledge the presence of the chairperson or whoever is presiding, then ask his permission to proceed with my presentation. But the most important thing is that I do not forget ladies and gentlemen. Why do I not forget? Every distinguished guest is either a lady or a gentleman. And so, for me, if we found one thing, I come and say, Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, do I have your permission to proceed? So as not to be found wanting. Then the second question, I have dealt with this many a times, especially when I was SLC president. There were times I needed to speak on issues that affected management directly, and then they will take offense. So the first thing I do is that what are the appropriate choice of words for whatever topic I'm coming to speak on? Because indeed, it is going to hurt egos. It is going to affect people's personality. 2, 3 persons there. And so I choose my words rightly, but I don't move on the very substance of what I want to deliver. It can be heavy to carry, but I carry it with my mouth, with the right words, because you need to know it. You need to hear it. I need to say it. If I don't say it, who will say it? And so it is important you choose the words right and make sure you don't get a bad reaction from the person right there and then. So, the right honorable speaker in the house, public speaking, as I said earlier, can be a very daunting task. It does not really take the loud to speak in public. It takes the right technique, the right ability, your good sense of judgment. Good sense of judgment. It's very important. You have to be able to gauge reactions. What are the implications of what I'm going to say before you talk? And so, for me, there is nothing too heavy for my mouth. I say everything because I find the right words for them. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, our guest speaker. Honorable Minority Leader, do you have a follow-up question? Or you are okay? Final question. Kindly unmute yourself and ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, I always commend you when these kind of shaped seminars are being held. In the most sincere regard, you are doing well, and I commend you. The Honorable Faisel, I thank you very much. I don't know, but I have learned a lot from from your remarks concerning the first made question. That is the question concerning the invocative, and then the addressing of the negative issues. That one is a bit very difficult to tackle.
Yeah.
I faced it several times myself, and that was why I asked. It's more or less like a personal question. Mr. Speaker, my final question is not one that it's difficult to, but it has to do with the Honorable Faisal, your take on long meetings. As a speaker, as an MC, how do you feel, or how do you handle long meetings that go about taking, let's say, hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, and above? What is your take concerning it? Do you advise that meetings should take such long? And yes, there are some that are very, very necessary that they have to take such long hours. But how do you engage your audience at such long and lengthy meetings? So I don't know. I can quite remember one meeting. You know, we were all there, and we have to call a lot of people to come make submissions. So emceeing the program, I realized at the end of the day, the number of people that were seated from the beginning, at the latter end, we had, in fact, quarter of that number. So I am putting this across. How do you handle such challenges? The meeting is very lengthy. Your audience are getting bored. Indeed, humor counts. But how do you keep them engaged and keep them not leaving their seats? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and the House. Yes, as a public speaker, it's not your responsibility to determine how long the meeting or some form of engagement to be. Usually, the organizers determine that. But outside that, maybe you are a host, you are an MC, or whatsoever. Your organizers are done with their planning, with their arrangement. Then you come to realize that this event is going to take longer hours. Yeah, the first thing is the use of the humor to really keep attention. But what is important from the perspective of event management, I did event management too, is breaking sessions. You cannot have an event that you have about 6 speakers with very lengthy presentation, which is taking 3 hours. It is a 3-hour event in this modern time. It's considered very long. People get tired and exhausted. And so you employ the use of humor to create some form of interesting moment. This will now link the people from one speaker to the other. And the other very important thing is the breaking session. If it is 6 speakers, if it is after 2 speakers, there should be a breaking session. If it is a musical interlude, it should be one that is able to catch attention. It is one that is able to hold your audience together. They stay with you until your program is over. If you have to divide that program into various sessions, then this would have to include some form of, say, aerobic, where people would have to stand up, walk around, and then get back to seat. You cannot get people to sit for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and expect that everybody stays clear. No. So this one practically is for the event organizers, those who execute the event. You as a public speaker or a speaker or guest only have your time to come to deliver. But you also have a responsibility. Your responsibility is that because it is a longer period kind of a program, when you come in to speak, you don't just start. Sometimes I have a long presentation to make, but having guys reaction, knowing very well that people are exhausted, I now make it so concise, but then my substance is intact. My long 3-page presentation now becomes 1.5 presentation. I mean, 1.5 page presentation. My 4-page presentation now becomes a 2-page presentation, or even a 1-page presentation. But everything that is in there will be said. And so it is important you, even as the speaker or a guest who is called to speak, you determine the mood of the people. Are they already exhausted? If they are exhausted, how do I approach my presentation so I'm able to take them to myself? Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you very much, our guest speaker. If anyone has a follow-up, a question, kindly indicate it in the income message, and I'll give you the opportunity to speak. So if you have a question, kindly indicate it in the income message, and I'll call you to speak. If no one has a question, I'll proceed with mine. Mr. Guest Speaker, as a matter of fact, eloquence is something that a lot of young ones do seek to have, but it appears some of them feel someone might be born as an eloquent speaker. Some feel it is so tiring to learn to become an eloquent speaker. They enjoy listening to the Honorable Kojo Nkrumah, the Minister for Information, because he's very eloquent. And we have some very good speakers among us who are even youth, that they flow so much. In fact, we can also talk about, not really tagging the youth, but I'm talking about the elderly ones who are very eloquent. The First Deputy Speaker of Parliament can also talk about the Majority Leader, who are very eloquent speakers when they are talking. And then the Honorable Sam George, and then all other MPs that I can talk about, these public figures. You can even talk about His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who is also eloquent. So, is there something you can talk about on eloquency, how to become eloquent, and if possible, lessons that you can take that can really help you to become eloquent or fluent in your delivery when you are speaking? Thank you.
You're welcome. So, the right honorable speaker in the house, yes, eloquence is another attractive way of speaking. There are people that are not very eloquent, but they are able to communicate. But what does eloquence bring? It adds value. It adds that itchy sentiment. Somebody wants to listen to you because you are eloquent. And so, how do you become eloquent? Now, not many of us are born to be eloquent. People learn it. As a craft, people really develop. The first way of developing that craft is learning how to read aloud. You may not know how bad you pronounce procrastination if you don't pronounce it for your own hearing. Sometimes fine. Procrastination can be written on a board, in a book. You see it and you say you can pronounce it because that is procrastination. But the best way to be eloquent is to know how to pronounce for your own hearing. How do I sound? Have I gotten this correct? Diction. Have I gotten it right? So once you read aloud, you are able to develop the craft of being eloquent. I forgot to add that when you are organizing your thoughts, your material for public speaking, research is very important. You will have every knowledge of the topic you are coming to speak about, but there could be trending perspectives to the topic. And so it is important to research and know what are the new things to this very topic. What are the new things other speakers have been saying? How have they approached it? Once you have these things in hand, you'll be able to flow. If you know what you are speaking about, you'll be eloquent. And so it's important to first and foremost learn how to read aloud. In broadcast journalism, for instance, you are taught to, before you even go ahead or go on screen, that is when you are learning to, you are taught to go into your room, look into the mirror, and then read for the mirror. You do this to one, create that self-confidence you need. Two, whatever you are reading aloud, you are listening to it. And so you create a sense of knowing if you are right or wrong. And so reading aloud, getting the correct pronunciation of terms, terminology, jargon. If you are speaking in, let's say, on an issue in relation to medicine, health, journalism, what are the right terminologies? If you know them, nobody stops you from being eloquent. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. I don't know whether you spoke on anxiety and confidence, but what advice do you have for the young ones or the youth who get so anxious whenever it is time for them to speak to the public, and how can they overcome it?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I spoke about anxiety earlier, which I mentioned that, yes, almost every platform you are supposed to speak brings you some form of nervousness. You are either too eager, overconfident, or you are dreaded, you are afraid. So this is what I'm going to do today. Am I not going to fail? Oh no, I can do it. I can do it better. Anxiety. How do you control it? You first of all know it is normal. It is a normal thing. And it happens. Your adrenaline will shoot up. Your blood pressure will shoot up for some of these events. But once you're able to know that it is normal, then you are showing that even before you master the courage to control it. So I began public speaking all the way from the basic level. But from time to time, depending on my audience, which event they say, I get nervous sometimes. And the best way I do it is it is normal. I understand it is normal, so I'm able to master the courage to control it. It is something public speakers must adopt. Once you adopt that, then you have a way to flow. And that is why I mentioned also that adequate preparation is very important. Once you are prepared, anxiety is gone, being afraid or having the fear of going to fail is gone. Preparation is important. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I don't know whether you also spoke on the point of distractions. In this issue of virtual communication, distractions are more on connectivity of which we don't have control. But in the with respect to physical settings, distractive activities turns out to also, should I say, noises and people standing up to move, and then all those in the auditorium, they turn out to distract whoever is speaking on floor. What what is your advice with respect to, should I say, mitigating that issue to ensure that such distractions will not affect our presentation when we are speaking in auditoriums? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I spoke about distractions earlier, and that's what I said, that expect the unexpected, the expectant of the unexpected. These things are not things that are really predictable. You don't know which form it takes. Even when you speak to your audience physically, distractions are bound. Internet connectivity, when it has to be video conferencing, distractions are bound. Now, having the mindset that these things are bound is very important in having to overcome them when they occur. So recently, a musician had to perform here on a stage in the Port region. This musician, from what we were told, had been invited to attend some rehearsals. He never did. He appeared on stage and had problem with the sound. That's proper distraction. He didn't expect that kind of distraction, and so he failed to handle it. All he could do is that next time get proper sound. He walked up to that very man out on stage probably had a dent on the program. Eminent. So you have to prepare for that. When they happen, make sure they do not take you out of control. Sometimes these distractions are such that while you are talking, they occur. People use their temperament as distraction and forget the kind of audience they have. Then they are out of gear and say things they cannot say. And so distractions are bound in any form, on any platform, through any media. And so it is important you know and even focus what the likely distraction or the unexpected is going to be. Would it be lights out? Would my mic in particular can really be distracted sometimes? So how do you control that? So if you be able to focus, okay, at this event, A, B,
It appears, talking about distraction, he was actually distracted by circumstances beyond his control. That indicates how important the question is. Honorable Erasmus, you concur. Quite a coincidence, if I may say. That's not bad. Oh. When he's done with my question, I'll allow you to ask your question. Our guest speaker. Not to crowd, say hi. Courage and Evans, you don't have any questions? Oh, you have? Oh, Erasmus and I will ask all the questions. If in case you don't have, they are apparently very good observers in this sector. Um, let's see how soon. His other account is still here. Volta Direct. I think he can equally speak through that. Minority leader. Yeah, basically the Harun Idrisu of the house. They're not giving face to majority at all. I hope we have quorum here as well. If we don't have quorum, I can see your chief whip has joined.
Mr. Speaker, we are going to make sure that during our next virtual seminar, we come in our numbers. And in fact, we are going to make sure our virtual seminars are very power-packed, active. Very soon, we are going to work on everything. In fact, I'm enjoying the seminar. It's quite unfortunate the network is serving us as barriers to this effective seminar. I don't know why today is like this, but anyway, we are still on it, and I thank you. But I'm glad that these seminars are being held. I asked myself why the seminar was held 2 days after the sit-in, the virtual sit-in, but I think it is equally good that it was held, because equally tomorrow I have public speaking something, a presentation, which I'm getting some few tips over here.
Wow.
So kudos and thumbs up, Mr. Speaker. God bless you.
Thank you very much. I don't know, but maybe in our second parliament, the virtual leadership seminars might become physical ones. Just as we'll gather in a room, maybe we'll do it like, you see how the normal interviews happen at the TV station. It's supposed to be there with the guests, they'll have a conversation, but we'll record it and then we'll premiere it. Maybe from the second parliament, we'll start doing our leadership seminars like that, which will be like more of a face-to-face seminar, but it will be premiered for our people to see. Since our guest speaker is here, I think I would allow him to finish answering the question, and then we'll move on with the other question. Mr. Guest Speaker, you can proceed. Yes, Mr. Faisel, you can unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself and speak, please. Hello. Yes, Mr. Faisal, you can unmute yourself and speak, please. Hello. It appears. Yes, kindly unmute yourself, please. You have to unmute yourself. I'm currently speaking on floor, so you can unmute yourself and accordingly finish your presentation. You can as well use. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Yes, if you can hear me. Yes, very good, very good. Yes, it's true. The minority leader has identified that the network interruptions
I'm not
are
able
quite
to
high
hear
on the high side today.
anything. Can you hear me now?
Very true, Baba.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, we'll manage it.
Honorable Faisal, I think Mr. Speaker's account has gone quite offline, so I'll be glad if you can continue answering the question he asked concerning the distraction. I also have a follow-up question on that, not particular that, but I think since he's offline, let me go ahead and ask this question at once so that right after the distraction question, you can answer this one. It is concerning what you do to your public when the audience, when they approach you after you have addressed them. That is at the end of the program, at the end of your presentation, when the program has come to an end. How do you address your people? What do you tell people when they come to you? I think what you do before and after also counts. So, for example, most times after programs, certain people come, they meet you, they engage you in discussions. What are some of the things you say to these people? Do you just take contact and then that is all? What are some of the things that we do? What is your advice, please?
Okay. So the point is that, yes, sometimes when you finish or probably you are done with a particular event, people want to stay more with you. So some approach for context. But like I said earlier, even in concluding your presentation or the form of engagement you're having, you have to make statements that lingers on the minds of these people. So once you do this, people after the event, once they are impressed with what you have done, would want to connect with you. They want contacts. They want email addresses. You have to give them up and maintain that these are only for professional purposes or engagement, if that is what you want to do. And so, yes, your event is over, but people would want to connect with you. And so you find the right way in having to stay on with that connectivity. It's important. You don't just walk away. You don't just finish events and then pick your materials and start walking away. No, sometimes it is important to stay for a while, engage as many people as possible, because some would even give you feedback right on the spot. Some have listened to you barely for 2 hours, and right after the event, they come up to you and tell you, you have done so well. Some people tell you in the face, no, you didn't treat this topic really well. Why didn't you do it this way around? Because in your audience or among your audience, sometimes you have people who are simply with in-depth knowledge of the topic. And so they would approach you and question you on some of the things just to seek clarity. Or some even want to disprove what you have said. So you need to know all these things and get a balance. That is important.
Yes, thank you very much. I don't know whether the others have a question, but we are kind of approaching the end of the program. However, I have my last question. Follow up. Okay, Minority Leader, your last follow up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Faisal, for a very smooth delivery. In fact, we are very glad to have you. Youth Impact is very glad to have you. Mr. Speaker, concerning the distractions, I don't know whether you were online when he clarified everything, but I think the submissions he made were quite audible and laudable. Mr. Speaker, I also want to make a follow-up question concerning my earlier made question, which is networking. What is the importance of networking dignitaries who come for a program, especially youth like us? This is not pertaining to the public speaker. For example, I attend a meeting and then there is this dignitary who came to present or who was invited. He didn't present though, but he was invited. And I feel that, okay, networking might help me in one way or the other, maybe to help me build up on a particular ladder, ambition or whatever it is. Now, to someone who is shy, how do I go about it? How do I approach the dignitary? What are the kind of words I can quite recollect that you, in your submission, you made mention of the fact that choice of words matter a lot, and that we should try and figure out ways to overcome our anxiety. So, what are some of the things that you advise the youth to say, or how to approach such a dignitary, how to go about the networking? When we do get the number, what are some of the things you do to get the person engaged? For example, like you have presented, some of us may feel like we need to get engaged with you, keep talking with you, so that you help us groom us in some in leadership ways. How do you intend that we go about it?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Networking is social capital. People have businesses today not because they have so much money in their accounts, but because they are able to build social capital. Social capital is all about networking. But having to find the right approach to it is very important. I attend very high profile events and meet very high profile personalities. So, how do I approach them? So that in the end, I'm able to leverage on that kind of relationship. First and foremost, your approach should carry all the good sense of mannerism. You don't meet anybody and say, good morning, please, what is your name? Or please, I like you. No. The best approach to having to network and with the person you don't know is say, sir, good morning, or madam, good morning. My name is Faisel Abdul-Iddrisu. I work at GH1T. I sat in during your presentation, and I must say you have done really well. You have left on me a very big impact. Sir, please, am I able to get your contact to connect to you again, if you don't mind? The right words, the right approach. Once you do some of this, that's just an example. Once you do this, the person finds you humbling, and you come across as somebody who is coming with a purpose. Some people meet people even after taking contact. You don't say, hi, good morning. No. Hi, Mr. ABC. It's important. The person knows you know him. You take somebody's contact, then you say, hi, good morning, sir. The person doesn't know you. So the first approach is, hi, Mr. Jones-Viglo. Hi, Mr. Viglo. Please, this is Faisal. I met you at the Youth Impact Parliament Virtual Leadership Seminar on Thursday evening. The person reads that and knows very well who is talking. And so he wants to engage. She wants to engage. And if you don't go that way, I'm sorry, you will not get the attention you need.
Thank you very much, our guest speaker. I'll move on to. Hello. Yes,
I can
thank
hear
you very much. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Guest Speaker. I'll move on to my last question for the day. My last question is that in reading your profile, which says you have attended several trainings, especially in the area of journalism and parliamentary practice and procedures. Since we are youth parliament, we would like you to share with us some of these things that you have learned about parliamentary practices and procedures so that we can also improve the quality of our parliamentary system. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. And thanks to you again for the opportunity. Parliamentary practices and procedures is another big topic on its own. And I'm rightly sure that you are very much aware of it. And so it will be quite difficult to exhaust a topic of that nature, given the nature of this evening's engagement. But there is one very thing I want to leave with the house. and that will be for today. When we get another opportunity, we'll delve more deeper into parliamentary practices and procedures. But this is what I want to say. And I'm going to say this because having presided over the whole municipal parliament for these few months, I observed one thing. Not too many people in leadership, when it comes to youth parliament, knows the roles they are supposed to play. The chief whip doesn't know what he or she is supposed to play as a role. The majority leaders don't know, or the majority or minority doesn't know the roles they are supposed to play. Members do not really know what their roles are and how to go about it. So literally, leadership for the youth parliament of late do not really know what roles they are to play. I want to say that the business of the day for any parliamentary sitting is determined by leadership of the House. And if I say leadership of the House, it must be noted clearly that when it comes to the national level, the business of the House is usually and by convention proposed by the majority in Parliament, because the majority invariably becomes, say, the government of the day. Now, what I have observed at the youth parliament level is that because leadership, I'm not talking about the speaker anyway. If I mean leadership, I'm talking about the caucus leaders in terms of the majority leader, the minority leader, the chief whips, even the clerk, and the marshals. The very defined role they are supposed to play, they do not know. So let me limit it to the majority and the minority leadership as far as the caucuses are concerned. Our members of the youth parliament, and for that matter, the various caucuses, expect the speaker to summon sittings. It is correct. But you cannot summon sitting if leadership in terms of majority in particular does not come up with the right business of. The speaker is not to determine what business the House should undertake. The speaker is supposed to give the green light for such sittings. And so the majority leader in particular should take note of this. You should be able to bring forth the business
Minority leader, why you don't have your question again?
Okay, Mr. Speaker, what I was trying to inquire about was the question you asked the Honorable Faisel. Yes, I wanted to hear the question that you asked him again because, I'm by the roadside, so I couldn't get the question well. But however, I think from from how he was answering the question, it was based on parliamentary something. If you could iterate and highlight the question again, I'll be very, very, very grateful, sir.
Okay. The question is just simply that he had several trainings in parliamentary practice and procedures. So if you could just share something short with us. He stated that it appears that the time for this program might not adequately favor unveiling knowledge on that. I was about telling him that we're having our 6th parliamentary sitting on the 3rd of April, and we hope when he comes, he will have more time to elaborate more on that. So I'll surely inform him though. I think he's back.
To hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Please proceed. Yes, we can hear you. Please proceed. We can hear you. We can hear you, sir. His network is not good. So I think when he comes, I will just give him the opportunity to give us the closing remarks, and then we'll proceed to close today's program. Because as you said, it appears network is quite a big deal today. Unfortunately, network is not that favorable today. So when he comes, I'll give him the opportunity to just give his closing remarks. And I will proceed to bring today's program to a close. Honorable Godwin, we have not heard from you the whole day. Minority Chief Whip, are you there? Minority Chief Whip, are you there?
Yeah, I'm around. I'm listening. Clearly listening.
Okay. Mr. Evans, I don't know whether you are still in the studio, because I realized you're in the studio when you joined. Mr. Evans, Vital, said Vital. Are you listening to us? Or it appears he's listening without contributing, if I may say. So basically, our guest speaker, you are listening, yes. They are accredited observers. Yes, our guest speaker is a broadcast journalist. If you can follow him on Facebook at Faisel Abdul-Iddrisu and other social media handles, you can follow him there. He usually does broadcast journalists, so they are usually media correspondents to give highlights during news hour. To give highlights, and I think he works for Joy. Is it Joy News? I've been seeing some of his videos. It appears he works for Joy News as well. And then he's also the Speaker of Akatsi-North District Youth Parliament and Home Municipal Youth Parliament. So of course, he knows how it feels like to preside over a youth parliament. But he has not seen mine yet. I would indulge him to come to my house and see how vibrant our plenary sessions are. With the caucus support, I'm still surprised at how our fourth parliamentary season turned out. With the moral support from its caucus, that was quite surprising though. So those who could not make it to the sitting, I'm very sure they have missed a lot, if I may say. So I don't know whether I should proceed to close the program without him giving a closing remarks. If he's having countless issues joining us, I think we'll proceed. So, honourable members, I'll proceed to give my closing remarks and vote of thanks. When he comes in between, I would also give him the opportunity to give us his closing remarks. But if he does not come and we are free, the program will accordingly close. Honorable members, moving to the closing remarks. Honorable members, on behalf of leadership and myself, I wish to convey the sincerest gratitude of the House to our guest speaker, Mr. Faisel Abdul-Iddrisu, broadcast journalist and speaker of Akatsi-North Youth Parliament, for coming to impact us with his massive experience and lecture us on the topic for the day. God bless him greatly for availing himself to impact us. And I also wish to appreciate members publicizing today's seminar and accordingly participating in it. Most especially to our graphic designer, Mr. Dollar Glaston, Youth MP, and HTU SRC Public Relations Officer. He wholeheartedly designed this beautiful poster you are seeing he presents currently. God bless him very much. For the attention of the House and our participants, I hereby indulge you all to follow Youth Impact Parliament on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and YouTube. Youth Impact Parliament is a youth organization recently established. Actually, as a matter of fact, on 22nd of April 2022 will be 1 year. So I'm not sure the recent is quite applicable. We are actually growing, if I may say. Established to create opportunity for youth to be groomed in leadership roles, public speaking, parliamentary business, social norms, and values. We are still in our first parliamentary year since establishment. We have held 3 pilot sittings, and we have held for now 5 parliamentary seats, and also 5 virtual leadership seminars with 1 panel discussion, which was on International Women's Day celebration. I indulge you all watching us to follow us on our social media handles, Youth Impact Parliament, on Facebook, Telegram, and YouTube, and YIP Ghana on Instagram and Twitter. Honorable members, we'll be having our 7th virtual leadership seminar with Reverend Roger Elomtitiku, who is the Deputy General Overseer of Paradise International Church. And it is scheduled for the first day of April, which is 1st April 2022, 6 p.m. on Google Meet, this particular meeting link. So join us. Youth Impact Parliament is also open for support from the entire public and even the international space. All who wish to support us and support our vision can kindly do so in cash or kind. You can accordingly call me on +233 20 147 6896 and support us any way you wish. As of now, our membership is valid per participation in our sittings and activities, hopefully at the right time, of which we announced that we'll be introducing youth constituency representation in our 2nd parliament. We'll have Volta regional constituencies, Oti regional constituencies, Eastern regional constituencies, and Greater Accra constituencies. 8 for OT, 18 for Volta, 33 for Eastern, and 34 for Greater Accra, summing up to 93 youth constituencies in composing our second parliament. That is for the information of the House. Very soon, the Google form will be made available for all of us who wish to remain in the second parliament or new members to accordingly fill and prepare to be inaugurated. Kindly note that there may be some financial implications. So, hopefully, at the right time, all those modalities will start. The Google form will be made available for your application. Honorable members, I'll move on to the vote of thanks. Honorable members, at this juncture, I would like to use this opportunity to thank the Almighty God for making this program a success. My second thanks goes to our guest speaker, Mr. Faisel Abdul-Iddrisu, for making time to facilitate our program and taking delight in it. Thank you, sir. We are grateful. I also want to use this opportunity to thank all participants, especially my vibrant minority leader, the Honorable Erasmus Kofi Ahenu, former Speaker of Business School Senate, and currently serving as Vice President of NASPA, for being vibrant in our recent teachings and then virtual programs. I can see his chief whip also online. The majority leader also joined some time ago, and all who have joined, thank you so much for joining. Then colleagues of our guest speaker, I can see Mr. Evans. Thank you all for joining. And sympathizers of this honorable house. I want to use this opportunity again to thank all those who have directly and indirectly contributed to the success of this program in terms of organization and publicity. God bless you all. And on behalf of leadership and myself, I'd like to congratulate you for taking time to participate in this program, and all viewers who would participate in this program after it's been uploaded on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you all, and God bless you abundantly. I will allow Honorable Erasmus Ahenu to kind of give closing remarks on behalf of the guest speaker. Honorable Erasmus Ahenu, you can kindly speak on behalf of our guest speaker and give a short closing remark before we take the closing prayer.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, it's quite unfortunate I'm by the roadside, but I'm paying very, very, very keen attention to you. Mr. Speaker, we are very grateful that you organized this seminar to have us come on board to be groomed in public speaking way. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the guest speaker, I want to extend a big thank you to you and the House for creating this avenue. We pray and we ask that this virtual seminar won't be the last of its kind, but it will keep on being aired and it will keep on embracing we the youth and keep on training us, because these are some of the things that we need in our everyday Ghanaian lives. In fact, we should spend more time enriching ourselves as an individual. And I, for one, am very grateful to have this very seminar. And I would ensure and endeavor that I always participate. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minority Leader, for speaking on behalf of our guest speaker. Honorable members, we'll proceed to the closing prayer and accordingly bring the program to a close. Prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this youth impacts parliament. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give wisdom and understanding to all who have participated and will later on watch the program, that they may proceed to implement what they have heard and learn, of which will result in their personal development and entire national development. We commit into your hands our sixth guest speaker for facilitating our virtual leadership seminar series. And we commit subsequent guest speakers and seminars. Onto your hands. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our members that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of this youth parliament, Volta region, and Ghana. Amen. God bless you all and have a wonderful night. I'm Jones Amegashie-Viglo. I am Jones Amegashie-Viglo, Speaker of Youth Impact Parliament. Bye.